Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, and welcome back to another live here with me, Asiya Nasir, founder of my consulting firm, Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions, where my mission here at my consulting firm is to help aspiring nonprofit founders as well as existing nonprofit founders to be able to fulfill their missions in real time. So that is what I do each and every day, working with clients to make sure that their nonprofit is truly making the impact that it wants. And I am also a two-time author with my book released last year, Nonprofit Doesn't Mean No Profit, which you see up top, where you can find on Amazon now. It is a 10-chapter book that can truly help you, especially if you're just starting out or if you're finding that your organization is at a crossroads and really needing to have some changes made and not exactly sure, where your pain points are. That book will definitely assist you in being able to evaluate your organization and move in the direction that you want to go. So without further ado, I wanted to share something that I think is extremely, extremely important for nonprofit organizations, especially grassroots nonprofits. And that is in the area of funding, especially grant writing in particular, because that is an area where many grassroots nonprofits feel that once they receive their 501c3 tax-exempt status, that automatically means that they are going to be rolling in the dough. And so I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is not the case. What a 501c3 tax exemption status provides an organization is the ability now and the qualifications to at least apply for a lot of grants, sponsorship, corporate, donations, sponsorships, foundation money. In many of those cases, they require that if they're going to be donating money to a nonprofit, it has to have the tax exempt status for the tax deductibility that is attached to it. So a lot of times, just getting started, you're not sure, what that plays as it relates to your nonprofit, the role that it plays. So while it does play an important role in having that tax exempt status, the issue that many of grassroots nonprofits find is that they don't do the additional work that is required in order to make that 501c3 tax exempt status work for it. So my job today is to give you 5 strategies as to why your applications are getting declined. A lot of you are like, look, I have my 501c3, we're legit, we're a legitimate organization. And, every grant, no matter how small or how big, we're just getting declined. We're not getting the grants that we feel that we deserve. And that may be true. You might be out there doing the work and so forth. However, there are some key factors that you're missing, and that is probably why you're not getting the grants or the funding that you desperately deserve. And so that poses the question, is your organization grant ready? Is your organization grant ready? And that's a question that a lot of nonprofits do not ask themselves. Me as a certified grant writer, I've had organizations come to me, and in spite of the fact that I let them know that I need this information, I need that information, they think that, just, what I'm telling you on the phone should be suffice, or in this conversation that should be suffice. And in reality, the reason why I'm saying you need these things is because your organization is not grant ready. It is not grant ready. So we're gonna go over 5 strategies that you need to ask yourself. If you're not getting grants and you're not getting the funding that you need, it's probably one or more of these reasons that you're not getting the grant money that you want. So let's get right into it. And so strategy number 1. And it sounds simple. It sounds extremely simple, but you'd be amazed at how oftentimes this is one that is missed. And this is something that your organization should have started off on and should have built a strong foundation in order to get funding. And that is to establish a clear, concise, and mission assigned, like mission statement, a case for you to get funding. I can't tell you how many times I have asked clients who are asking for funding, wanting me to write grants for them, and I ask them what their mission statement is, and I'm having a meeting with their entire board, and their entire board have a different answer. Oh, our organization does this, or our mission is this, or our mission is that. And I'm like, okay, which one is it? And if it is all of those things, how do you condense that into making it a clear and concise, mission-driven case for you to be able to get funding? And a lot of times they cannot articulate their mission statement. They know that the activities that they're doing, but they cannot articulate the mission statement. So the mission statement should consist of, who do you help? What target audience, what marginalized community, what at-risk community, or what at-risk population are you trying to help? You have to identify a problem in order for you to be able to say we're the solution. So your mission is to fix a problem. So if your mission statement is 5 different things that it's doing, 500 different things that you're trying to do, it becomes muddled. It becomes very muddied. And then the grant funder is like, what does this organization do? Who do they help in particular? If we give money, what population are we assisting? So your mission statement needs to articulate what it is that's the problem, who it is that you're servicing, and in what way is your organization going to be able to assist them. So if you're helping the homeless, right, is there a particular population, a geographical area that you are assisting, right? That should be in your mission statement. How many, if it is a geographical area or a particular area, then you should indicate what is it that your organization is going to do? How often are you going to do it? What type of programs or whatever? Now, that you don't have to go into detail of the programs, but you can indicate that your nonprofit's mission is to, minimize or eliminate or eradicate food insecurity in a particular area by virtue of, and your mission statement should be something that you can articulate in 30 seconds or less. You should be able to articulate the who, what, where, and why. What is the why? What is the problem? And what is your organization going to do in order to assist? And what is going to be the benefit of your organization? If you can't articulate that, how do you expect a grant writer to do it, or a grant funder to be able to figure it out if you can't articulate it? So if you cannot think to yourself, if you're listening and tuning in and saying, if someone asked me what was our mission statement, first and foremost, do I know, even as the founder, can I articulate our mission statement in 30 seconds or less? Does my board of directors, can they articulate? Because we want them, that is their job in order to solicit money. Can they articulate the mission statement in 30 seconds or less? This is something that should be concise. This should be something that is direct, something that once you do, now you can align it with that grant funder. Are these services that we're offering, or these programs that we're offering, or is the issue that we're looking to resolve or to correct or eradicate altogether, is this something that the organization or the funder actually supports? So you have to align what it is that your mission statement is doing with a grant funder that actually wants to help that particular problem. So if you're all over the place, so say, yeah, you primarily do one thing, but you have 10% of something where we offer maybe financial literacy, but it's a very small part of your program, then you shouldn't be going after a grant funder that their mission and their goal is to supply, funding for those that their primary activity is to help with financial literacy. So if it's just a small part, a class, but the rest of it, 15 minutes of a series of something that you offer is financial literacy, that's probably not the grant funder that you want to apply for. Although you offer it, is it a primary component of what it is that you offer that you can actually attach to change, impact in your community. If it's not, then that's probably not. So again, if you can clearly articulate in your mission statement what it is that you do, keywords, then you can attach it to organizations, funders, grant funders, foundations, corporate sponsors that align with those particular things. So it's really important that you're able to articulate your mission statement in order to translate that to the grant funder, where they can see that what it is that you're looking to do aligns with what it is that they're also looking to fund. Okay, so that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is, and this is really important, again, I'm speaking primarily to grassroots nonprofits or those that have been around for a while but struggling in getting funding. Having a strong financial documentation or accountability system. It's extremely important. So again, you'd be amazed, as a certified grant writer, I have had clients that don't even have a budget. Don't have a budget. Don't have a project budget, program budget, much less an annual budget. But you want me to get funding for you. That is going to be extremely difficult, because in many cases, a grant application wants to know why it is you're asking for the amount that you're asking for. So if I'm asking for $10,000, right? I'm asking for $15,000, but your program really only requires $5,000. Guess what? You're probably not going to get funded because you weren't able to articulate the cost that it's going to take to run the actual program or your organization. So if you do not have a budget, it is very difficult for then the grant writer or for you to be able to write to that grant funder to explain where this money is going. Grant funders are not in the business, and foundations are not in the business of just giving away money. It is a lot of competition out there. If you haven't heard, nonprofit organizations are a business, and there are a lot of nonprofits that are seeking the same exact funding that you are. So while you're applying for a grant application, guess what? 400 or 500 other nonprofit organizations are applying and vying for that same money that you are applying for. So not having a budget, not being able to explain where the money is going, how much is going to hit, the percentage of this is going to this, percentage of this is going to that. And it goes back to what I said. If you're applying for someone that their primary focus is to help financial literacy, and you do a breakdown of your budget and say 5% of it is going towards the financial literacy aspect of this program, then they can actually see that this is not a primary focus of your nonprofit organization, which does not align with theirs. Also, as I mentioned before, grant funders are not in the business of just giving away money. So they want to see where the money is going. How did you come up with this dollar amount in order for you to be able to see that this is how much you need in order to run this? If you are able to do that, it lets them know that you are a sound organization that has an accountability system where you can check off and be able to, your treasurer or your internal audits can actually see where the money went. And did it go towards what it said your annual budget was going to go towards? And did the things that were in your project budget, did the funding go towards those particular things? So it's really important that you have a budget. And grant funders, they're savvy. They look at grant applications. That's their job. So look at grant applications over and over and over again. Foundation money, corporate sponsors, they're used to getting, requests for funding. So they can tell when someone is fudging numbers, and they can tell when someone actually has a budget that can actually articulate, because again, they know what the cost is. They have had applications that are very, very, specific. So they know when something costs a certain amount, this is the average cost of something. And here you are, because you haven't done your due diligence in order to create a budget that really is customized to your organization. They can tell that your numbers are not matching up. So you're not fooling anybody. They can tell the difference between, and you know what they do? Take your application, put it to the side as the applications that are automatic decline, and then they focus on the ones that have actually done the work to do their budget. So if you do not have a program budget, a budget for each of your programs, and then an annual budget, which includes payroll, operational expenses, things like that, administrative expenses, as I mentioned, payroll, supplies, and all of those different things. If you don't have an annual budget that says this is how much it costs in order to run our business, that's a sign that you're not financially sound. You're not fiscally sound. You don't even know how much it costs to run your organization on a yearly basis. And then your programs should demonstrate a portion of that annual budget. Your programs should be able to just like fit in a slot and say, yep, the numbers match at the end. So if you do not have a budget, if you do not have an annual budget, that's going to be a problem for a grant writer, because these are these are questions that applications ask. And if you cannot answer them, and if you cannot demonstrate, it is going to be very recognizable to them, and nobody, including yourself, would want to invest in a business that is not fiscally sound. So if this is a problem for you, or you're seeing that you don't have this intact, this is probably a very good reason why your grants are not being approved and why you're not grant ready. And that's okay, because this is why you're listening in. This is why you're tuning in, is so that way you can see where you need to improve, work on that, and then go after those applications again. Okay, so that's strategy number 2. Strategy number 3 is to create a strong, like, internal infrastructure in leadership, right? Your organizational infrastructure. This is where your leadership, your executive team, your board of directors is going to be really, really important. It's going to be really, really important. If this is not in place, all of the things that we just mentioned, creating a budget, creating, whose role is what, who's going to manage this, and a lot of these grant funders, they want to report after whatever it is that they funded. They want to report as to how did it go, what happened, who was impacted, how many people were involved, as far as recipients receiving, your services. They want to know all of this. So if you have an infrastructure that everyone knows their role and everyone does this, the reporting aspect that comes after getting the funding becomes much easier for you to be able to provide, because it's not all on one person's shoulder. You're able then to shoulder it on multiple people, that they're responsible for the financial aspect of it. This one is responsible for the administrative aspect of it. This one is responsible for whatever it is they're responsible. So it allows you to be able to create the information that's necessary, that is absolutely necessary, and that everyone's on board. Everyone knows where the money's going, and that makes for a stronger board of directors, because the more engaged and the more needed they are, the more they're going to be able to show up for your nonprofit, versus just, I come to meetings, I vote, and that's it. When they can actually be a part and contribute to the success of a nonprofit organization, those are the ones that stay. And they're the ones that advocate and become ambassadors for your nonprofit, because they see the numbers. They know how much it costs. They know where the money goes. So having a strong leadership, if you don't have a strong board, that's a good reason why you're not grant ready. Because a lot of the grant applications now, they ask for a list of your board of directors. And let me tell you something else. When I applied for a grant with Starbucks, which we did receive the funding for Starbucks Foundation, they didn't care just to speak to me. Guess who they asked to speak to before they actually cut that check? They wanted to speak to one of our board of directors. Why? Because they wanted to know that we had a strong infrastructure and that the whole board was involved and knew what was going on with this money. So they wanted to not only speak to me as a founder of my nonprofit organization, but they wanted to speak to one of the board of directors, so that way they knew that, you know what, she's not doing this alone. There are other people involved that are aware of what's going on. There's communication between the two, showing a strong front of your leadership. So it's really important. This is probably a make or break for any nonprofit. I don't care on what level you are. You have to have a strong board of directors, and you have to have a strong infrastructure with that board of directors, which is where your bylaws come in. So if you don't have bylaws, or if you have bylaws and you don't know what's in your bylaws, guess what? That's a good indication that you don't have a strong infrastructure with your board of directors, and you may need to revisit that. Okay, so that's strategy number 3. Strategy number 4, in order to get ready or to be ready, grant ready, is to build and maintain a relationship with your existing grant funders, or your existing corporate donors, or your existing individual donors. You want to be able to establish a relationship, maintain a relationship, letting them know what is going on, inviting them to your events, going to their events, things that are important to them, and establishing a true relationship. Establishing a true relationship. I cannot tell you, in nonprofit, relationship building is more important than, for any business, you have to network and you have to build relationships in order to be successful. But for nonprofit, because of the simple fact that you're asking people to give, they're not getting something in return. So when you're asking them to give to your nonprofit, this is money that they're giving. They're not investing where they're getting money back or a percentage back. This is just for the sole purpose of seeing the community benefit, right? So building a strong relationship with them is extremely important. So in what ways can you do that? Invite a grant funder who has given you money, or even if it's an individual donor who has given a substantial amount, have them, come in on a board meeting, just as a, even if it's virtual, just to be able for the board of directors, for them to be able to see your board of directors, for your board of directors to thank them, for them to hear at a board meeting where their money is going. That's important. If you're having an event where their money has particularly, contributed to, invite them to the event. If you have programs that are going on, invite them to the program so they can actually see their money in action, that they can actually see where this money is going. Build a relationship with them. So that way they're not saying, oh, this is a one and done. They're asking, how much more can I help? And what other ways can I help? Can I tell some colleagues of mine? That's something that you can say, you know what? You have done so much for us, and we hope that you continue to support us. However, if you have colleagues that align with our mission, or would be in support of our mission, could you spread the word to your colleagues that we're doing something like this, like refer a friend to our organization? Networking, relationship building. We're struggling in this area, and we really could use a supporter that is good at this. And it could be an in-kind donation, someone to support from something, a skill set or an expertise that they have. Do you know someone who has that expertise? So here it is, that networking, not just asking for money, and that's the only time you speak to your funders, but relationship building. I know I do it with mine. We invite our funders to all of our events, our grand openings, our graduation ceremonies, our retreats. We invite them so that way they can see. We show them pictures. We send them pictures. Newsletters. That's another one. Newsletters is a wonderful way for you to be able to share with your donors where their money's going, the activities that are happening, what's upcoming, what's exciting news, in your organization. So building a relationship from all different fronts in order for you. And here's where I said those different roles. Maybe there's someone in your board of directors that's really good at creating newsletters. Maybe that's their role, right? So these are different ways in which you can continue to build relationships with those that support you already. And then that way, in later conversations, you can ask for referrals or donors. And here is where you can ask for that relationship with its continuous money coming in, because they know your organization. They know what you do. They've seen it in action. And this is money that can continue to come in. Now, this last strategy that I'm going to provide should have been number 1, but I saved the best for last. And this is one of the reasons where I find, as a certified grant writer, why nonprofits are getting declined. And even though I asked them to create these things, they don't create it because they don't think it's important. They're just busy doing what they're doing. But it's like you're going to struggle to be able to sustain what it is that you're doing. So yes, while you're doing great work, it's not sustainable. Here is what you need to be able to do with all of your programs, with all of the events that you're doing. This is something that is, I mean, mandatory in order for you to be grant ready. And that is document the history of the impact that you've made in your community. You have a lot of nonprofit organizations that are, I mean, feet to the street doing the work, but they can't articulate or have any record of who or how many people they've assisted. What's the success stories? How many people were impacted by your program? What transformational change has happened with the people that have participated in your services or who have come to your organization for assistance? What change has happened? How many people? So if you have 10 people that say your organization offers job readiness programs, you have, and it doesn't matter the number. Grant funders are not so concerned of having a bunch of high numbers. They care about the impact. So even if you're grassroots just starting and say you have 20 people, 10 people that participated in your job readiness masterclass or academy or whatever it is that you call it, and they've gone through the series of that, 10 people are unemployed, 20 people unemployed, 80% of them are employed now. 100% of them are employed now. 75% of them are employed now with sustainable income for their family. That is a measurable impact, something that you can measure. So a lot of grassroots nonprofits, what they find success is, we completed the academy. We had 10 people participate in our program and they completed the program. It's successful that they showed up. Yeah. But what was the impact to the people who showed up, who came to your classes, who participate, the people that are homeless? Do you have resources for them that now, 50% of them are not homeless anymore? They have gainful employment. We have partnered with different partners in order to assist with helping them get housing and whatever it is that they need. These are the success stories that you need. Do you have testimonials on your website? Do you have testimonials after your events that you do, after the programs? Can you bring someone to share their story? When you look at the successful nonprofits like St. Jude's Hospital, they're talking about something morbid, which is pediatric cancer. And yet they have a story each and every time. What is the success story of their patients? We know not all of them make it, but they measure how many do make it and they share their story. And that is why time and time again, they not only get one and dones, they get recurring donations over and over and over again, because they have measurable outcome data that shows this is the impact. A grant funder loves nothing more than to give money to an organization that, even though it's doing it on a small level, they know their money is going to help you do what you do successfully on a grander scale. That's what grant funders are looking to do, is to support your nonprofit to be able to do more of the good work that is doing. But if you can't articulate the good work that you're doing and measure the good work that you're doing, they cannot fund what they don't know. So the more you can articulate, we had this many people participate. It's not just about how many people are participated. It's how many people were impacted, how many lives were changed after that. Follow up, have a follow-up measurable, system in place to measure the success of the people that participate in your programs. So that is the 5 strategies that I wanted to share with you. If you find that any one of them is something that you're extremely lacking in or not doing well in, that's probably where you are. That's probably why you're not getting the funding that you desperately need and deserve. If you're doing the work, you deserve the work, but you have to be able to run it like a business, to articulate and document the budgets, the outcomes, the infrastructure of your organization, your mission statement. If you're missing any one of those things, that's probably why you're not getting the funding, is because it's not coming across in your grant, because you're not able to articulate it to the grant writer or whoever's writing the grants. They're not able to articulate it because it hasn't been made clear to them as well. So you have, and they can only do so much with the information that you're giving. So if if you've heard this before, don't ignore it. This is why, and don't blame the grant writer. Get to work, do what is necessary, tighten up, get the things that you need tightened up in order for you to be able to get grant ready, for you to be able to be in competition with the other nonprofit organizations that are doing what is needed and what the grant funders are looking for. So that is what I wanted to share with you this Monday morning. If this is something that you would like further assistance on, please feel free to contact me at through my website at Utopian Enterprise Biz, and you can see it right there, Utopian Enterprise Biz, where I have my name, utopianenterprisebiz.com. That is where you can find me, and then contact me for an initial consultation to get you set up if you need one-on-one assistance with grant writing or just any other area in which you find that your organization may need assistance in. I'll probably be the one that can help you. I'm actually pretty sure of it. So I will see you all next week, God willing, for another live here with content that is going to be able to help your nonprofit organization fulfill its mission in real time.